49ers defense. Who you got?
I'm going Lamar Jackson. Listen, you can't prepare for this guy in practice, and when he gets out there, that athleticism and speed hits you like a ton of bricks. And I know the 49ers got one of the elite defenses in the league, but they haven't seen an athlete like Lamar Jackson.
The last time Lamar Jackson was the quarterback and his team punted was November 3rd. I hardly know where to go with that. Next, Russell Wilson of the Vikings defense. Acho, who you got?
I'm going with Russell Wilson. Get this, outside of Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson is the MVP of the National Football League. Even when he doesn't play great, he still leads his teams to victory. He puts up touchdown passes. He doesn't turn the ball over. The Vikings defense is stout. They have great linebackers in Eric Kendricks. They have great safety play and secondary play. But Russell Wilson is that dude until proven otherwise.
They're still fighting for the 1 seed, too. And then D. Wood, Patriots and Texans. Who you got, Deshaun Watson or that New England D?
No, I got that New England D. And listen, this Patriots defense is the best defense in the league, particularly their secondary at the back end. They can cover anybody. And when you can cover the way the Patriots can, guess what? It forces you to hold on to the ball. And that's when bad things happen with Deshaun Watson, when he holds on to the football.
It's been a rough couple of weeks for the Texans. Meanwhile, let's bring Shefty back into the conversation with that thought in mind on the Patriots here. Shefty, they've got flu-like symptoms running through the Patriots. Yeah. How do we expect that to impact them this weekend?
Well, it's not ideal, Greeny. And last week, the Dallas Cowboys dealt with it. And who knows, maybe the Dallas Cowboys transmitted that when they went to Foxborough and played the Patriots. I mean, it's certainly possible. Where did this flu bug come from? Dallas was dealing with it last week. New England's dealing with it this week. Now New England goes to Houston. And for all we know, the Texans will be dealing with it next week. And it has to have some sort of impact. It's not exactly the way you want to go through this week. It's a tough enough week on NFL teams as it is because of the holiday, because of the shortened week. Now they have to fly out to Houston, and they have 8 players right now with flu-like symptoms. That might not be the end of it. It could spread from there. Who knows? Not an ideal situation for New England as it gets ready for Sunday night's game against the Texans.
Now, Shefty, stay close because I want to bring you back into something in a minute. But, D, Wood, I want to turn to you because we were having a conversation as we look at this New England underwhelming on offense, great defense and special teams. Reminds you of the first Super Bowl that Belichick and Brady won in 2001. You were on that team. Mm-hmm. How similar do you think this is?
I think it's pretty similar. Everyone looks at the Patriots offense like, well, what is going on? But I tell people the Patriots are the most resourceful team in the National Football League because they can beat you in all 3 phases of the game. Look at last week against the Dallas Cowboys. Matthew Slater comes through, blocks a punt. Patriots go and scores in that particular situation. Even when the Patriots offense isn't clicking, which clearly it isn't, they still are able to pick it up in other phases, and that's why they're 10-1 right now.
Enough to win it all, Acho?
Enough to get to the AFC Championship game. And to Woody's point, the casual fan only watches 2 phases, Greeny. They watch offense and they watch defense. And the very casual fan only watches quarterback play specifically on offense. But I watched the Bill Belichick breakdown this week, and he talked about that block punt. Remember, there's a 3rd phase of the game, which is special teams, which does comprise nearly 30% of the football game. Bill Belichick is going to find a way to win. If he can't beat you on offense, he's going to get an edge somewhere else, and I think he's genius enough to get him.
I saw that breakdown with him and Zolak.
Yes.
The Patriots tweeted it from their team account. It's phenomenal just to listen to him breaking down tape. I guess the question is, how critical is home field advantage for the Patriots if they should meet the Ravens again, which they're only 1 game up on them. Really, they're a half game up on them because the Ravens beat them head-to-head. So it feels like every game is a must-win for New England.
I think it's critical for New England because I think the atmosphere, the weather, everything, they just seem to play differently in Foxborough. I think more so than the Baltimore Ravens, the Patriots need home field advantage.
That and the fact that the Ravens aren't scared. I mean, they're one of the toughest, just most swagged out teams I've seen in football in a long time. It's going to be a lot easier for them to win at home, the Patriots, that is.
I would think so, too. I'm thinking of them winning the AFC Championship game last year in Kansas City, but boy, that feels like a long time ago. All the points they scored, that feels like a very different situation. All right, more on the NFL as we go, but then, of course, to the college weekend. It all comes down to this. This is where it all stands right now in the college football playoff rankings, and there's Alabama looming at number 5. And Hembo did a little research for me here, and according to Caesars, these are hypothetical lines on a neutral field. According to Caesars, Clemson right now is the team they like. Clemson would be a favorite over LSU. Ohio State would also be a favorite over LSU, and Clemson would be a 1.5-point favorite over Ohio State. According to Caesars, right now Clemson would be favored over any team they should play. in the college football playoff, which brings us to this edition of Ask Acho, and that might be a little bit of a setup for you. The first question, who is the scariest team right now in college football?
I think it's Clemson, and I think Vegas knows something. To me, they do, because when I go to Vegas, they always take my money. But I think it's Clemson because Trevor Lawrence is playing lights out right now, Greeny. He struggled early on in the season, 8 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But since October 1st, in the last 2 months, he has 19 touchdowns on 3 interceptions, the best quarterback efficiency in the whole nation, which means simply he's playing the best football in the nation. Mind you also, Clemson, they're the most lax team, the easiest schedule. If they go to the college football playoffs, who are they really having to beat? Whereas LSU would just have to take on Georgia 3 weeks prior.
Yeah. Clemson is the team we've forgotten. It's amazing. They haven't lost a game in 2 years. They're defending national champs, but they haven't played like a spotlight game everyone needed to watch all year long. So I think they are largely overlooked, which brings us to the next question for Ask Acho, which is, which do you think is the most complete team in college football?
The most complete team is easily, by far, Ohio State. The Ohio State University. Let me put some respect on their name. Have the best defensive lineman in college football in Chase Young. Then they have one of the best cornerbacks in college football in Okudah. Then they have the best offensive scheme, or at least one of the best offensive schemes, led by Ryan Day, first-year head coach, and Justin Fields at quarterback. They're incredibly complete. In case you missed the stat earlier, they turned the ball over 3 times last week against Penn State. Top-ranked Penn State, highly ranked Penn State, gave up 17 points and still won by 11 points. Ohio State complete offensively, defensively, and on teams.
And of course, they have the huge game, the game this weekend at the Big House. And with that thought in mind, I want to bring one of my favorite Michigan men into this conversation. Adam Schefter is with us all morning long here on Thanksgiving. And Shefty, I want you to see what your favorite Michigan man, Jalen Rose, had to say yesterday about this matchup with Ohio State.
So you remember earlier in the year where people were assassinating the character of one Mr. John Harbaugh? You remember that happened earlier in the year, and then all of a sudden the Wolverines continue to play good football. People sleeping on those days in Ann Arbor. They don't have Urban Meyer this year. You know what I'm saying? This will be the year that the Wolverines get it done, Greeny. I am booking it. Tell them, Dez, you just said it. And on Saturday, I'm going to make me a large pitcher of sangria. I'm going to make some wings. I'm going to grill some lobster tails. And I'm going to be singing the game-winning touchdown as Peoples Jones catches the game winner. Book it.
So that was performance art at its finest. Shefty, how are you feeling heading into this huge game this weekend?
I think Michigan's got a chance. Look, there have been generations of fans here that have gone by without seeing Michigan beat Ohio State. The time has come. Hopefully, this is the weekend where they finally get it done. Well, the one thing that encourages me is that in speaking to a couple of people who are connected to the program, I said, what do we think this year? And they seem to think that Michigan's got a real chance to pull the upset. I don't know whether they can, whether they will. Certainly hope they can. Again, the people that have tracked this, follow this, they think that this is the year that Michigan's got a real chance to finally beat Ohio State and end this misery that's gone on way too long.
And maybe the worst news I can give you is that I think they're going to win, and we all know that I'm always wrong. Quickly, we've all seen footage of Jalen at Michigan. We have dug up footage of Shefty at Michigan. Can we show this? Here we go. Look at that. Look, the chef's specialty. There's Adam Schefter scooping everybody, I'm sure, back in his days writing for the paper in Michigan. What can you tell us about the chef's specialty, Shefty?
Well, Greeny, I wouldn't have known a news story back then if it had hit me in the face. I had no idea what I was doing. But the student newspaper there, the Michigan Daily, was kind enough to invite somebody in who had nothing else to do with his time, and that's where I started to begin reporting. You know, and the mullet there was something that I was more concentrated and more interested in growing a mullet than I was in breaking a news story at that point in time.